If you're about to achieve something big, one step away from a life-changing event, and suddenly everything starts to go wrong, this video is a sign. It's not bad luck. It's not the universe testing you. It's a biological self-sabotaging mechanism that is activated precisely when you're close to victory. In the next few minutes, you'll learn the name of this inner force, why it disguises itself as logical thinking to keep you in your comfort zone. And I'll give you a 10-second technique to deactivate this mechanism the moment it appears. What you'll discover here is the difference between those who almost succeed and those who actually win. Stay with me, because understanding this is the last piece missing from your puzzle. If you feel you're at this exact point, comment, "I'm at the door." The veil before victory. This video didn't reach you by chance. It's a mirror, positioned exactly on the door you've been staring at for years, the door to your victorious self. If your journey has been one of effort, dreams, attempts, and overcoming, know that reality becomes more intense and noisy in the moments leading up to the big turning point. And this noise begins within, like a whisper trying to make you retreat, questioning your worthiness and your ability. It's the fog that appears before the sun breaks through. This feeling is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. On the contrary, it is confirmation that you are approaching the threshold. The resistance you feel is proportional to the magnitude of the transformation that awaits you. Think of it as the pressure that water exerts on a dam before it breaks. The greater the pressure, the greater the force that will be released. You are feeling the pressure of your own accumulated greatness, ready to flood the landscape of your life and completely redesign it. You know that pressure you feel, that noise that seems to want to stop you from moving forward, is not a new challenge in the history of humanity. The ancient initiates of the mystery schools of Egypt already knew this force, and, more than that, they knew exactly how to master it. That is why I want you to learn about the Logos Code. It is not just a modern manual, it is an e-book we developed about the history and the knowledge of Thoth, the master scribe and the architect of reality in ancient times. Thoth taught that the Logos is the frequency that organizes chaos. If you feel that your life is too noisy and your projects are not moving forward, it is because you have not yet learned how to use the code that Thoth left behind to govern the mind and the word. Understanding this ancestral wisdom is what separates those who only try from those who truly manifest. I left the link for you to access this legacy of Thoth in the first pinned comment. I recommend that you see this as an invitation to your next level of consciousness. The mind, in its desire to protect you, creates logical narratives to justify retreat. It tells you that you're not ready, that you need another course, another sign, more time. But the truth is that readiness is not a state achieved by standing still. It is forged in the act of overcoming fear, of taking the step even with trembling legs. What you are experiencing is a universal phenomenon, an archetypal pattern of the human journey. Before any significant harvest, there is a final test. Not a test imposed by an external force, but a test of internal alignment. It is your old self, the identity that has served you until now, fighting to survive. It knows that your victory means its death, and it will not yield without a fight, using the most sophisticated weapons it possesses, its own thoughts. Observe the patterns around you. The synchronicity that brought you here is not an isolated event. It's part of a larger convergence. Life is pushing you toward a decision, toward a point of no return. Ignoring this call is consciously choosing to remain on the riverbank, watching others sail toward the ocean that also belongs to you. Hesitation at this moment is not prudence, it's a subtle form of self-sabotage. Understand that the anxiety, doubt, and chaos you may be experiencing right now are not the problem. They are a symptom that healing is near. They are the fever that precedes the breaking of the disease. You are at the epicenter of your own revolution. What you feel is not the harbinger of failure, but the sound of your old structure breaking down so that a new one can emerge. And this old structure has a voice that sounds exactly like yours. That inner voice, which sounds so convincing, isn't wisdom, it's distorted protection. It appears when you're about to achieve what you most desire, disguised as responsibility. What if everything goes wrong? What if success transforms you into someone you don't recognize? These thoughts don't visit those who are stagnant. They are the sign that the ground is cracking open so the seed of your new self can germinate. It's the final resistance of your old life which feels the new one taking its place. She operates with surgical precision, using your own ambitions against you. If you desire financial freedom, she whispers about the dangers of greed and loneliness at the top. If you seek deep love, she reminds you of the pains of past relationships, projecting failure before the attempt even begins. This voice is not creative. It merely repeats the fears you already carry, but amplifies them at the exact moment your courage is about to blossom. The mechanism is always the same. Take a fragment of truth and build a fortress of lies around it. Yes, success brings new responsibilities. Yes, love demands vulnerability. But the voice omits the other part of the equation. It doesn't talk about the expansion, the joy, the fulfillment, and the strength you gain by overcoming these challenges. It sells you risk as a certainty of loss and the comfort zone as a guarantee of security, when in reality, it's a guarantee of stagnation. This self-sabotaging logic is the most dangerous of all because it doesn't look like an enemy. It sounds like you. It uses your tone of voice, your memories, your intelligence. That's why fighting it head-on with more logic is a losing battle. You would only be feeding the very mechanism that imprisons you. The way out is not to argue with the voice, but to understand its origin and its real purpose, which is much deeper than a simple risk analysis. Think of it as the immune system of your current identity. When a foreign body, even if it's a life-saving transplanted organ, is introduced, the system attacks it. Your new self, your victorious self, is that new organ. Your psychic system, accustomed to the old version of you, identifies it as a threat and tries to reject it. The fever of doubt and the pain of anxiety are the side effects of this battle for your own evolution. The fatal mistake is believing that this voice is an oracle, a spiritual guide protecting you from danger. It is not. It is an echo of the past, a ghost sitting in the control room of your perception. Recognizing it for what it is, an obsolete survival mechanism, is the first step to disarming it. You don't need to destroy it, you just need to stop obeying it. And to do that, you need to understand that this battle is not against the world out there. The illusion of external threat. You are not facing bad luck or a cosmic test. The battle is more intimate, closer than your own breath. In ancient languages, the adversary is not an external figure, but the very internal division. It is the part of you that yearns for flight, and the other that clings to the safety of the cage. The most dangerous opponent does not break down your door. It sits in your mind and negotiates your evolution, waiting for the exact moment when you are about to transform. We've been conditioned to look for the enemy outside ourselves. We blame the economy, the boss, the family, the government. It's a comfortable narrative because it absolves us of responsibility. If the problem is external, all we can do is wait, complain, or fight against shadows. But the uncomfortable truth is that the external world is merely a reflection of our internal state. The opportunities that don't come and the obstacles that keep repeating themselves are often projections of our own internal resistance. This division creates a constant leak of vital energy. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with holes. You strive, work harder, learn more, but the bucket never fills. The holes are your limiting beliefs, your unresolved fears, your unconscious loyalty to an identity of scarcity. Self-sabotage is the act of, at the moment when the bucket is almost full, making a new hole just to relieve the pressure of the unknown, the pressure of having to deal with abundance. The term adversary, in its Hebrew roots, means the one who obstructs or the accuser. And who is the greatest accuser in your life, if not the voice in your head that catalogues your mistakes, points out your flaws, and questions your worth? This force is not on some distant spiritual plane. It is in your nervous system, activating fight or flight responses to opportunities for growth, treating expansion as if it were a predator. When you understand this, the game changes completely. You stop fighting against the world and start working on yourself. You realize that bad luck was just your energy field repelling what you said you wanted, because deep down you felt unworthy or unprepared. That project that didn't work out, that client who disappeared, that door that closed. What if it wasn't a sign to give up, but a mirror showing the part of you that hasn't yet accepted its own victory? This inner force is not an abstract entity. It has a name, a function, and a deep psychological origin, mapped by wisdom traditions and modern psychology. It is a fundamental part of your psychic architecture, a shadowy guardian protecting a territory you yourself defined long ago. And to cross that gate, you must first confront the guard. The guardian of the known territory. Carl Jung called this force the shadow, the part of ourselves that has been rejected and hidden, laden with fears and old beliefs about who deserves what. The shadow is not your enemy because it is evil. It becomes your enemy when you refuse to look at it. It is like a guard dog that barks fiercely when you approach unfamiliar territory, trying to keep you in the familiar world, even if that world is painful. The subconscious hates change, preferring predictable pain to unknown pleasure. Everything you deemed unacceptable in yourself, anger, ambition, vulnerability, laziness, was exiled to that basement of the psyche. There, these energies don't die. They unite, gain strength, and form an autonomous personality, the shadow. And it governs your life from the darkness, projecting itself onto the people you judge and the events you attract. The world becomes a theater where your unintegrated shadow acts without you realizing it. The purpose of the shadow is paradoxical. It sabotages you to protect you. It keeps you small to ensure your survival within the parameters you learned in childhood. If you grew up in an environment where success generated envy or where money was seen as dirty, your shadow will register prosperity as a mortal danger. And the moment you are about to prosper, it will activate all the alarms, creating accidents, sudden illnesses, or paralyzing thoughts to force you to retreat to safety. Integrating the shadow doesn't mean becoming perfect or eliminating your flaws. It means bringing light to those hidden parts. It's looking at your anger and asking what boundary it's trying to protect. It's looking at your fear and asking what deep desire it's harboring. It's an act of radical courage and self-compassion. By doing this, you don't destroy the shadow, you transform it into an ally. The energy that was used to sabotage you is released and becomes fuel for your journey. The struggle against the shadow is the cause of all inexplicable fatigue, chronic procrastination, and the feeling of fighting against oneself. It's an internal civil war that consumes your resources and prevents you from manifesting your full potential. You cannot win this war by force, only by surrender. Surrender not to defeat, but to the totality of who you are, accepting that you are both the light and the shadow, the hero and the villain of your own story. But how do you do this in practice? How do you dialogue with a force that operates in the silence of the subconscious? The gateway isn't the mind, which is the territory where the shadow has already won the battle. The gateway is the body. It's through sensation, breath, and changes of state that you can bypass the guardian and recalibrate your system from a more fundamental level. There's a way to perform this alchemy in seconds. The practice, alchemy in 10 seconds. When anxiety and fear overwhelm you, don't fight the thoughts. Trying to control every thought is like trying to catch every raindrop in a storm. Real change comes from a deeper place. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly, a real breath, not a performance. Gently ask your body, how would it feel to experience well-being for just 10 seconds? Let your shoulders drop, your jaw relax, your heart soften. That's alchemy. It's the change of direction that makes the mind follow, like iron filings attracted by a magnet. This micro-practice isn't about toxic positivity or ignoring the problem. It's about interrupting the pattern. Anxiety and fear are physiological states. Your body is in high alert mode, flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. Arguing with your mind in this state is useless. You need to change your body's chemistry first. By focusing on a feeling of well-being, even if imagined, you send a safety signal to your nervous system. It's a ceasefire command in your internal war. The mind will follow the body. When your body relaxes, the mind interprets that the threat has passed. Catastrophic thoughts lose their power, not because you fought them, but because you removed the emotional fuel that fed them. That's the key. You don't manage thoughts, you manage the state from which thoughts emerge. Change the soil, and the plants that grow in it will change too. You are exchanging a soil of fear for a soil of confidence. Make it a ritual. In the middle of a stressful meeting, before a difficult conversation, upon waking up feeling the weight of the world. Pause, breathe, and access that 10-second portal. Don't underestimate simplicity. The most powerful tools are often the simplest because they can be used on the battlefield of everyday life, not just on a retreat or in a therapy session. It is the consistency of this practice that begins to rewrite your neurological pattern. Each time you do this, you weaken the automatic panic response and strengthen a new neural pathway of calm and centering. You are training your body not to be hijacked by your shadow. You are becoming the master of your inner state instead of being a victim of it. It's the difference between being a leaf carried away by the storm and being a tree that bends with the wind but remains rooted. This practice is the foundation, the first energetic aid. It gives you the power to choose your response instead of reacting on autopilot. But to create sustainable change, for this state of well-being to become your new normal, you need to understand the science behind why it works. You need to understand the hierarchy of power that exists within your own body, a power that resides not in your head, but in your chest. The electromagnetic field of the heart. Science confirms what the ancients knew. The electromagnetic field of the heart is immensely more powerful than that of the brain. Your feelings command your thoughts. 1,000 affirmations of "I'm ready" cannot overcome a deep feeling of unworthiness. That's why some people seem to attract solutions, while others, trapped in the same emotional frequency, only find more reasons to complain. The world is the same. The internal climate is different. The Heart Math Institute, a pioneer in research on the intelligence of the heart, has demonstrated that this field can be measured several meters away from the body. You are literally transmitting your emotional frequency to the environment. When you feel gratitude, compassion, or courage, you emit a coherent, ordered wave. When you feel fear, anger, or frustration, you emit a chaotic and disordered wave. And the universe, by a law of resonance, returns more of the same to you. This is why the law of attraction fails for so many. People try to think positively while their bodies are vibrating at a frequency of fear and scarcity. It's like trying to tune into a classical music radio station while the device is stuck on a static frequency. Thought is intention, but feeling is the magnet. Without alignment between the two, there is no clear transmission, no manifestation. The 10-second alchemy practice is the act of consciously tuning your internal radio. You are changing the station from fear to confidence. And by doing this repeatedly, you begin to transmit a new signal. Opportunities that previously didn't see you now begin to resonate with your new frequency. The right people appear. Solutions become obvious. It's not magic, it's physics. This shift in focus from the brain to the heart is the transition from a life of striving to a life of flow. Fighting with the mind is like rowing against the current. Aligning the heart is like adjusting the sails so the wind carries you. The work is no longer about forcing results, but about cultivating the inner state that allows the results to come to you. It's a fundamental paradigm shift from doing to being. But how do you maintain that frequency in a world that seems designed to take us off center? How do you protect that delicate flame amidst the whirlwind of daily stress, negative news, and exhausting interactions? Just feeling good momentarily isn't enough. You need a strategy, a method to shield your energy and act from this new place of power. The Sacred Frequency Method. To make this change lasting, adopt a two-phase method. Phase 1. Shielding. Protect your emotional frequency like a sacred flame in the midst of a gale. Observe the environments you frequent and the people with whom you share your energy. Consciously choose what enters your field. Music, readings, conversations. Phase 2. Action. With a more stable heart, take the next step. Send the message, make the call, publish the project. Don't wait to feel ready. Readiness is built in movement. The shielding phase isn't about isolating yourself from the world in a bubble. It's about becoming a conscious curator of your own energetic space. This means saying no. Saying no to draining conversations, anxiety-inducing content, and diminishing environments. Every yes you give to something that weakens you is a no you give to your future self. Shielding is an act of radical self-love, a declaration that your inner peace is non-negotiable. This also involves actively nurturing your frequency. Start your day with silence instead of your phone. Listen to music that uplifts your spirit. Spend time in nature. Read books that expand your mind. Each of these choices is a deposit into your emotional energy account. You are building a reserve, a force field that makes you less reactive to the fluctuations of the external world. You become the thermostat, not the thermometer. Once your frequency is more stable, the action phase becomes natural, not forced. Action born from fear is frantic, desperate, and often counterproductive. Action born from a centered heart is calm, precise, and powerful. You don't act to achieve something, but as a natural expression of who you have become. The fear of failure diminishes because your identity is no longer tied to the outcome, but to the act of authentically expressing yourself. The cycle is simple. Shield, feel, act. Protect your energy. Use the 10-second practice to calibrate your feelings. Take the next logical step, no matter how small, and repeat. It's the consistency in this cycle that creates momentum. Most people fail because they try to act from a state of depleted energy, or they get stuck in their armor, afraid to test themselves in the world. The two phases are inseparable, like the two wings of a bird. This method transforms the journey of growth from an arduous battle into a dance. You learn to retreat to protect yourself and to advance to create. You develop an intuitive intelligence about when it's time to hold back and when it's time to expand. And by practicing this, you begin to perceive something profound. The appearance of your greatest resistance, your most frightening shadow, is not a signal to retreat. It's quite the opposite. If you are about to win, expect the shadow to appear with its final tricks. Expect your mind to become a court, putting your dream on trial. Expect fear to dress itself in logic. Don't be offended. Don't panic. Just acknowledge it. This is what happens when the old self senses the new one approaching. The inner adversary only tries to pull you back because you are an inch away from the diamonds. Think of a video game. The final boss doesn't appear on the first level. It appears when you're about to beat the game. The intensity of the challenge is an indicator of your progress. If your fears are higher than ever, if your doubts seem more real than ever, congratulations. You've reached the final boss. You're at the treasure gate, and the Guardian is making his last, most desperate effort to stop you from entering. This is the great shift in perception. What you once saw as a sign of impending failure, you now recognize as a sign of impending success. Anxiety is no longer a reason to stop, but a reminder to take a deep breath and keep going. The voice of doubt is no longer a truth to be obeyed, but the noise of an old system collapsing. You stop fighting the symptoms and begin to welcome their arrival as a milestone on the map. This recalibration changes everything. Instead of feeling like a victim of your fear, you become a curious observer of it. Look, you might say, my shadow is at work today. I must be very close to something big. This dissociation empowers you. You are not the storm, you are the sky watching the storm pass. And from this observer's position, you can make conscious decisions instead of being swept away by emotional reaction. Remember, the shadow has no creative power. It can only use what already exists within you. It cannot create a new fear, only amplify an old one. It cannot force you to do anything, only tempt you to give up. The ultimate power has always been and always will be in your hands. At every moment, you have the choice to believe the voice of fear or the silent truth of your heart. When inner chaos reaches its peak, breathe, smile at the guardian, thank him for showing you how close you are, and then, calmly and with determination, take another step. Cross the gate. What awaits you on the other side is the version of yourself that always knew this was possible. You are not being punished, you are being initiated. These intrusive thoughts are not a punishment. They are a revelation. You are seeing the last layer that wants to keep you small. Don't turn away. Don't stop an inch from your goal. Take a deep breath, stabilize your heart, and keep digging. This video is not a mystical lottery ticket. It's a reminder. You are not lost. You are being called to your true self. The soul's journey is not a straight line toward the light. It's a downward spiral, leading us into the depths of ourselves to rescue the treasures hidden in the shadows. Every challenge you've faced so far has been training. Every pain, a lesson. Every near victory, preparation for this moment. Nothing was in vain. Everything was sculpting you, strengthening you, preparing you to be able to sustain the magnitude of what you are about to receive. The universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And at this very moment, you are in a process of recalibration to become the person who can have, maintain, and multiply the dreams you have planted. The resistance you feel is your system expanding to a new capacity. It's like muscle soreness after an intense workout. It's not a sign of injury, but of growth. Don't wait for fear to disappear before acting. Courage is not the absence of fear, but action despite fear. It's feeling the vertigo at the edge of the cliff and jumping anyway, trusting that you will grow wings in the fall. Confidence is not a prerequisite for the leap, it is its consequence. You prove to yourself that you are capable by doing it, and each step, however small, builds the bridge to your new reality. You are at a turning point. The timeline of your life is forking. On one side, the familiar path of repetition, of the comfort zone, of what if. On the other, the uncharted territory of your full expression, with all its risks and all its glory. The choice is yours, and it is made now. Not with a grand, dramatic decision, but with the small choice to breathe instead of panicking, to take a step instead of retreating. This moment, this message, is a portal. Crossing it requires nothing of you except your presence and your permission. Permission to let go of who you were, so that you can become who you truly are. The summons has been made. The bell has rung. The door is open. The only question that remains is whether you will answer the call, and you don't have to do it alone. The collective ritual. If this message resonated with you, know that you are not alone on this journey. Everyone watching this video is on the same frontier, about to break through an old barrier. Leave a comment below with the word summoned to anchor your decision and connect with others who are also answering the call. By doing so, you not only declare your intention, but you join an egregore of strength and transformation. This simple act is a ritual of public commitment. It is you saying to the universe and to yourself, I have heard, I accept, I am ready. The written word has power. It moves an intention from the invisible world of thought to the visible world of matter. It is your first act of action from this new understanding. It is the seal you place on your contract with your future self. As you read the comments of others who have also been called upon, you will realize that your struggle is not unique. It is universal. The feeling of isolation is one of the shadow's most effective tools. By connecting with a community, you break that illusion. You lend your strength to others and borrow theirs. Together you create a field of resonance that amplifies everyone's courage. This is not just a comment section, it's a meeting point, a virtual circle of people who have chosen evolution over stagnation. Each name that joins the list strengthens the current. Each statement from Convocado is a brick in the construction of a new collective reality, where success is not a competition, but a shared celebration. Your journey from here will be different. You now have the map, you recognize the signs, you possess the tools. The shadow will not disappear, but it will no longer have the same power over you. You have learned to dance with it, to hear its messages without being controlled by your fears. You are becoming an alchemist of your own consciousness. To continue receiving the right reminders and tools at the exact moment you need them, subscribe to the channel. Think of it as keeping the lines of communication open with the part of you that's already there. The signs will keep coming, guiding every step of the way. Your journey to mastery is just beginning. Welcome. If you've made it this far, you're no longer the same person who pressed play on this video. You've crossed the veil, and now you can see the mechanism. Your presence until the end is the greatest proof that you answered the call. To anchor this decision, leave your mark in the comments with the phrase, "I did not jump over my future." We have reached a point where your support determines the next step of our channel. If you value the depth of the topics we bring, the best way to ensure they do not stop is by purchasing one of our exclusive materials. The link in the first comment does not lead only to an e-book. It is the gateway to even deeper knowledge and the financial pillar that sustains our independent production. Do not let this project become just a memory in the algorithm. Support us, grow with us, and help us continue awakening minds.